All right. Hey, this is on the wrong screen, so that's embarrassing. Those of you at home who are confused, no, no, stop it. You're embarrassing me in front of my friends. No. So much embarrassment. All right. Hey, kids at home who just watched me jump through screens. Oh, pride. Hey, it's Thursday, September 24th, and we're going to struggle through all of this together and then find out what happens from there. We're going to get through the finishing out of the quiz. We're going to talk about that speedy version for you guys. We're going to talk about new information as far as short stories and get into two short. I got so excited about the number 2, I held up in both hands. There we go, I could use both hands. 2 short stories we're going to get into today about animals and death and stuff like that. We're going to see how well you guys can figure out characters and setting and plot and point. All of those fun things we're going to get into. And apparently, judging off this class, we may even have real life death with some of the kids in this room at the rate that we are going. Why is that on my screen? Hang on. By the way, just so you guys know, as soon as I talked about killing you, several of the online kids all started smiling. So that apparently the idea of you guys dying brings them happiness. I would not take it personally. It is not necessarily a red versus blue thing, mostly because you guys outnumber them. But they seem very feisty. All right, there, to that, to person. Oh, I'm a little proud of you. Nicely done. All right. Then to hear, we just did this already, but just to touch on it for those of you at home, who are my other classes, this is a thing I'm going to have you do when you eventually come in, join this Apple Classroom. It's good and bad. Here's the bad for you guys. It's going to allow me to see your iPad screen while you're in my room. So if you make bad kid choices, it comes back to haunt you. It's good because it will also allow you to be lazy. Jean-Claude, I just said the word lazy. That seems to excite you, I'm assuming. So because of that, it's going to be whenever we have like reading things, instead of making you go to Canvas, I can literally hit a button and it'll go and just send it straight to you and pop up on your screen, which will allow you to be a little bit on the lazy side. So hopefully that helps you out. I don't plan on creeping on your iPad all the time. It's not a thing. I can't see your iPad when you're at home. I can't really watch your iPad when you're in other classes. I just use it when you're in here and we're doing a thing. A lot of times it helps when we're taking a quiz and you have a question. I can just bring up your screen and I can look at it real quick and answer the question and try and help you. I try to use it in a nice way, not angry, creepy parent way, at least the best I can. Unless you're that kid that I can't trust who sits in the back of the room while I'm teaching. You're like, pew, 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 pew. I'm taking notes. Then yes, I'm probably going to have a bit more of an issue with you. Sasha. Jean-Claude, there's kids around you dying right now. All right, here we go. Ooh, hang on one second. Let's play a fun little game. Here's the fun game. This is called a nose. Let's play the game called every time I see yours, I charge you a point. So that's how our fun game is going to be played. As long as you keep nose covered, now you should be good. If I can see your nose, then I get to be mean to you. Now, if you're taking a drink of water or something like that, that's fine. But it's when you're just sitting there and you just sort of let it keep slipping down, we're going to have a bit of issues. If you play the fun game called Mr. Brovia, Can I Be Sneaky and Abuse the Rule by just holding the water bottle in front of my face your entire class, you should ask yourself the question, in this battle of wits, do you have a chance of winning? And everyone should know the answer to that one is, you're going to die. What's that? Did you choose to yell while I was during our battle of wits? That's like forfeiting before the game even begins. Special children. Yeah, those of you at home don't have to cover your nose. You're fine, you special little monkey children. Squidney. You're fine. You do realize you spoke in gigglese, correct? And every other word was a giggle as a So we do call that kid Nate. Olivia, would you like to open the door? Squidney's having issues. Oh, yes, there's a door hand. Cranky child, you've been practicing at your house for years. Nate, I'm assuming you finished the quiz. Good job and welcome back. This is Nate, by the way. Apparently we're struggling with names. Hey, those of you, so proud those of you are watching this. So proud. All right, so back to here. That's not us. Settle down. That's apparently the taunting bell that just goes off every once in a while just to keep you guys in the loop of things. All right. But the story quiz that you guys have now officially turned in on that one, I tried to make it a little bit easier to understand because I had kids who were getting all confused. And they thought if they did well on the quiz and then turned in the homework, they got like 12 extra credit points. That's not how it works. You get 2 extra credit points if you get a perfect score on it, and that's it. B points are hard to earn, easy to lose. Like money, easy to lose or spend, hard to earn. So if you wanted to do it, you may. Now on that one, if you're wanting extra credit, you can go above the 10, you're good to go. If you're one of my kids who did well on the quiz and you attempt this one and you fail epically and you're like, oh, I'm awful at this, and you only get like the 60 or the 70, that's fine. Simply don't turn it in. You already have a 10 out of 10. Come Sunday morning, when I put the grades in, if you did well on quiz, I'm giving you a 10 out of 10 already. You only have to turn it in if you want above and beyond that. Or if you want B points. You can also do it if you would like that. In that one, you go all the way down to like a 60 plus, and you can turn it in, and I will give you B points for it. You simply submit it, and then on there, along with it, you put a little comment that says, I would like B points, please, when you submit it. And then whatever your thing is how many B points you will get. Completely optional. If you don't want to do the extra work, you don't have to. I'm assuming some of you in here might desperately need B points as the year continues. So for you, anything you can do to help you out might be a thing to benefit you. But for others of you, you're not going to learn that until you go down into the single digits and the bad things start happening to you. And then you're going to go, oh, Big Angry Man was serious about torturing me. Because yes, I'm serious about torturing you when you make those poor choices. Optional if you do well on quiz. Optional if you did well on quiz. If you bombed quiz and got lower than a 23, well, it's not really bombing, it's just like a B or a C, but not optional, you have to do it. It is due Saturday night. So if you did not get the 23 or higher, you have to do this. It is due for you. If at any point this confuses you and you're looking at me going, blink, 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 here's my easiest translation for you. Do the IXL, turn it in, and just see what happens. That is the best way to not mess it up. Because the worst that happens is you get extra credit. Are you raising your hand? You look confused. You're committing now? Valerie, what's up?
So you said that exam had like a 10 out of 10 if you were good at this score. And you would technically beat up the other two on the exam. Does that mean like that also applies to the because you get 3 stars?
You have to actually do the work. Yeah. At no point, unlike kids who just think you can just cheat your way through it, you have to actually do the work to get the extra credit or the B points. It's not going to be just gifted to you. You have to actually, like, if it feels like it's a gift, it's probably not working that way. All right. We're good to go there. Kid's staring at me. Yay. Yay. All right. All right. What's up, JC? Okay. That's like a 25 out of 27. I don't do numbers. Okay. Yep. You'd have to get all the way up to the 12, though. You'd have to get a 100 on your SMART score. And then what you can do is get 1 extra credit point and 3 B points. And I'm fine with that, too. Because I had another kid ask the same question, so I had to sit down and figure it out. I hadn't planned that out ahead of time, but he was like, that's what I want to do. And I was like, you're going to make me do work. Fine. So yeah, you'll end up getting 11 out of 10 on the homework and then plus 3 B points. And I'm fine with that too, if you want to do it that way. All right. Then I want to just do a speed through on the questions just again, so you guys can understand my thinking on them, because next week you're going to have an actual tough quiz. The first quiz you guys had, I thought was pretty easy. This quiz, I tried to make kind of easy. Next week's quiz, I'm not making easy. It's going to be one that's going to require you to think. There is going to be a step up. My goal is to make you think your way through it. But I want to explain how I write the quizzes and my thinking in the questions. So when you get to the tough one, it's going to be a little bit easier on you. That's my fingers crossed, my thinking to help you out. Snip. Next Wednesday. Probably because you're smart. Fun stuff. All right. So again, whatever you're planning on doing with IXL, it is due Saturday night. Whether you're doing it for normal credit, extra credit, or B points, whatever option you're going with, it is due Saturday night. The joy of you guys having me today, is that you guys get like one extra day to work on it. Like the kids who see me tomorrow won't get as much time as you guys. All right, running through the questions real quick. On this one, I did not think this was a tough question, but a lot of kids missed it. Where that idea was, who was the other teacher that was on the heroes team? My goal, by the way, literally is on the hall pass where it lists all of your heroes teachers. So I figured any kid who had a hall pass, you could just look at it and go, oh, look, it has all the teachers right there. Even if you did not have hall pass, you could look at that and go, well, it says not counting me, so that takes out Mr. Broviak. None of you have Mrs. Kletch, so that should take that one out, which leaves it down to just Mrs. Randall and Mrs. Frush. Most of you don't have Mrs. Frush, so literally leave Mrs. Randall. If you did have Mrs. Randall and Mrs. Frush, then you had to use your brain and think your way through it and figure out which one you actually had for socially. But anyway, and the other one, Mr. Piggy Pops, yes, that was my random answer. Oftentimes, I theme my quizzes with my random answers as I go through. For some reason, my best class is obsessed with some weird oink oink song that they keep singing all the time. So it got into my head when I was writing the quiz. I went ahead and made Mr. Piggy Pops the star of the quiz. So that was the particular theme here. Who knows next Wednesday what my new theme will be? It sort of depends what creepy thing enters my brain. When I said creepy thing, did you raise your hand?
No, I was just wondering. I thought we were.
No. As in, not my favorite class. My class I have for best. B-E-S-T. Nor am I saying that you guys are my favorite class. Don't get a big head on that one either. I'm just saying that when I said best, it's like the SEL/best, the one that you guys have like 3 hours on Fridays, we have 7th grade and best. That's what I meant. Don't get that excited about things. Credit, you've already passed your question quota. And then if you get 3 new heroes, all pass it. How many 9 weeks? Your credit. Good job. I'm not calling on you, Ronnie. I know. I feel better too. 4 9 weeks. If there's 4 9 weeks and you get 3 passes each 9 week, 4 times 3 is, yeah, once again, was not trying to make that a real tough question. The toughest thing was not knowing how many 9 weeks there are. What you could do is this thing called Googling. And you can Google how many 9 weeks in a year. And Google would say, duh, there's 4. And you would go, thank you, Google. And you can find out, we're allowed to Google. Yes, I'm fine with that. If I make a question that is easy enough for you to Google, Google it. Because that's how Google works. Because I figure in the real world, you can Google answers. So go do it. You'll have to wait. I'm going to get farther before you get to yell at me. You guys tend to like to slow me down, and it brings you happiness. What will happen to your pen or pencil? You tap it or click it repeatedly in my class. Good job, Olivia 3. I rip it from your little fingers. Sometimes I take a finger with you. That was Olivia 3, wasn't it? Oh. Well, none of you have masks on. You guys have masks, and you just stare at me. I'm just like looking at it. I have to tell who is coming. I can't tell when all of you stare at me. It would help a lot if when you talk, bobble your head up and down. I can tell the difference. If not, it's like a whole room full of ventriloquists like that. Yeah. Olivia, I apologize for giving you credit for being smart. I'll never do it again. Kyla, nicely done. Yes, I rip it from your fingers and throw it behind my desk. Your question quota has not reset because you're going to have to wait till we go to lunch. Or you can write it down and cry. Or, if you like to borrow, let's pick on a kid at home on this one. Let's pick on the kid. Connolly! This one I forgot. By the way, hang on. These kids already got to play this game. It's called the yelling at kids at home game. Kids at home, as soon as I say your name, you have to unmute yourself. If I wait for you to unmute yourself, I get to charge you points. Connolly, why have you not unmuted your? Thank you, Connolly. I've already said your name. So if I have to yell your name again, that's where I charge you points. You have to be quick with the finger, and just like that. But don't be the kid that jabs it and then turns off your camera, because then I make fun of you again. All right, Connolly, thanks for playing my game. Avery, if you want to borrow something from me, what do you have to give me to borrow something?
A shoe.
Avery, that's all you had to do. Now you get to go back to hiding. Now, the one thing that messed kids up on this was the fact that you could not count to one. I had a lot of kids wrote a sentence, give you a shoe, take my shoe, it's a shoe. It literally says one word. Half the kids who missed this question is they could not count to one. It's such a big number. It's not. It's just me mocking. How many people? Let's pick on another kid. Parker, let's pick on you. You're a pull. Oh, Parker's actually done, Parker, so I got to yell at you. Parker, how many B points does every kid start off with?
15.
Good job, Parker. Except for the special children who have already spent their points to buy things from me, or who are not fast at muting themselves or sassing me in class. You guys are not currently at 15 because you're special children. The rest of you guys are already at 15. We got it. Valerie, thanks for volunteering. That's so nice of you. Which of these will we not use in an actual story? You should know the answer. Now, this time I was watching. That was her talking, and you tried to steal her answer from her. You was like, I'm a ventriloquist. You can't catch me. Oh, good job, Valerie. Second person, you. That's what we're not going to use. Sasha. I don't want to be completely mean. Hang on. Do you need a tighter mask? I can do that. Let me just charge you 1 point real quick. You can do it. I can also give you like a paper clip that goes behind because I have like my fancy little thing back there. And then you want the paper clip? All right, you see that. I mean, if that would work better for you, that's fine. Well, no, you should have figured it out beforehand. No, you already did. Oh, the paper clip, not the mask. I said you want a paper clip to attach your mask like mine. I charge you the point for showing your nose. Oh, there you go. We're watching learning happen in the class. It's all kinds of wonderful. There's light bulbs going off on top of heads and great stuff like that. Parker, are you raising your hand because you want me to yell at you? Yes, Parker. What's up, child?
I was going to ask you if I can answer this one.
No, stop flexing on the other kids, Parker. We're going to get back to you in a moment. Stop enjoying school. All right, so here and then figuring it out from there. No, we're going to pick on Maddie because you don't get to come into school for me to pick on you often enough. Oh, that's fast. I got to yell at you there. Maddie, so when it talks about the hill, which of our parts of the point of view, short story elements is the hill going to be? Nice one, because it tells you where it takes place. Go you. And by the way, hopefully you guys enjoyed my Piggy Pop references. I did have a lot of fun writing those and coming up with all the different ones. Greta, number 8. From there, when it makes a reference to Bunny Monster, which is going to be a person or an animal or something that is going to be in the story, what is that a reference to? Nicely done, Greta. You have a question, Greta?
Yeah.
What's up? Speak quickly.
Okay. So, you know how Carson is talking and he was like, oh, are we your favorite class? And then you're like, no, but are we the class that talks the most?
Right. Number 9. Then jumping to the next one from there. Tell me. It said, which of these example things is it going to be when it says it tells you what's happening in the story? Good job. You sounded so excited. Way to embrace your inner excitement on that one. Plot. 10. Point of view. This one. Let's pick on the kid at home from there. Savannah. Thanks for volunteering. Oh, I was trying to get a kid not paying attention, but Savannah was faster. Savannah, the point of view for this one where it says I realized and I looked and I asked, the point of view for that would be?
First person.
Good job, Savannah. Nicely done. We'll go back to hiding again. Then 11, there's this one. Zeke, when it says you sit in the grass, you watch the girl, you dismiss, you charge kids points.
Second person.
Nicely done. That one's going to be second person. And then we're trying to get through so we can go to lunch. Then Olivia too. I was trying to figure out which. I could feel Olivia calling to me. I just couldn't tell. Olivia too. When we come back from lunch, Olivia too, we're going to pick on you then. So now we're going to go to lunch. So hang on one moment. I'm going to see if I can pause this. Pause recording. Work. Hey, we're doing an experiment. I've never paused recording in theory. We just came back and we're going to continue recording class and see what happens from there. Apparently, I've freaked out kids because I'm somewhat calm. But don't worry, I'm sure it won't last because, you know, special kids all around us. You realize that goes back to the generally finding ways to anger Mr. Broviak when you stick your finger into his camera. All right, did we cover this one together already? We did. No, we had not done this one yet. I was Olivia too. That was so nice of you. Thinking that I was going to forget to pick on Olivia too. Olivia too, you had that whole time. You sit there and think of so many answers. Well, let's get back to it. So Olivia too. On this one, we have a narrator that is following and jumping around between different people. So if the narrator jumps between different people, what point? I've already called on her. What would it be, Olivia too? Nice. Third omniscient. And then I tried to throw you guys some easy answers to try and help you out as we went into it. Renzo, since you're there, let's go ahead and jump to you. So for question, Renzo, why did you not unmute? Don't you make me be mean to you, Renzo? It's right there. Yeah, I watched a child jump right now. Renzo,
5 B points.
are you asking me? I need you to come at me with
5
authority.
B points.
That was very authoritative, Renzo. Nicely done. So the normal one is 3. If you want to buy a fancy one, it's going to be 5. Nicely done, Renzo. You can go back to not being afraid of me now. Well, I'm so glad. If only it was on the handout I gave you. And then if you work really hard at being a good kid, probably not a thing we have to worry about in this class, but in other classes, and you get all the way up to 50 B points. Ooh, Steiner, let's pick on you since you chose to skip my class today. And Steiner, that is you. You're not paying. Oh, come around for this. Yeah, I was. Don't you? No, I can't hear you because you've not unmuted yourself. That's why I'm charging. Hi, Steiner, what's up?
I wasn't paying attention. I'm sorry.
I know you were paying attention. That was incredibly, adorably honest of you, but I was fully aware, hence the yelling at you part. Steiner, let's pretend someday you're going to be a really good kid and you're going to get all the way up to 50 points. What good kid thing is going to happen to you?
You get to choose your own seat.
Nicely done. Good job, Steiner. You can go back to not paying attention to me until I attack you again. It's going to be all kinds of fun.
Thank you.
Lots of attacking coming up. I love when kids thank me for attacking them. And 15, the name of the app that I keep asking kids to sign up for, that I keep trying to say, hey, if you're not signed up for it, eventually I'll get to be mean to you, like I'm mean to Olivia 3. Nicely done, Olivia 3. And so it's going to be the Remind app. So now we've covered all of those answers. If you got lower than a 20 on the quiz, you may resubmit it, and I will activate it starting tomorrow afternoon. And you may resubmit it and get all the way up to a 20, which is a C. If you got higher than a 20, it doesn't do you a whole lot of good to resubmit it. But my goal is for those of you who would like to improve grade, may. Now, I'm assuming you guys have all of this copied down, so I can skip this part if you all nod your heads at me. Good. If no, I'm not asking you to nod your head, I was watching you nod your heads. So now we're going to fill in that next section of the notes. There is a bottom part. We're not getting there yet. Your brains are not big enough to handle that much knowledge. But we are going to throw a bit more at you. As in, we're going to get to theme and then both of the two conflicts. And we're going to do a demonstration with them to see how it goes. Hang on a second. Excuse me. Did not mean to bring that up. Theme is going to be the thing in the story that we learn. L is for learning. And so theme is the thing that you learn. It is basically the main idea. You're writing it down. Okay. I was trying to help you because you're blinking at me. So I thought that was a sign of confusion. So I was trying to unconfusicate you. Quoting a child. So along these lines, an idea of a theme might be don't anger teachers. That could be a theme that could apply to multiple stories. Or friendship is a theme. It applies to multiple stories. Or love, I mean, not what I would ever do, but that's one that could apply to multiple stories as a theme. A thing that you can learn might be always turn in your homework, or don't play with your pencil pouch, or any other random themes you might learn. Don't anger teacher when he's in the process of attacking children. Don't let teacher know when you're not paying attention because he's going to randomly call on you to see. Okay, just seeing if you were going to look up that time, Steiner. That was my low-key way of trying to attack you. And then we're going to get to internal conflict. By the way, if you've not picked up on my subtle way of doing things, I try to babble in between those. It's on purpose to buy you time to write it down. I'm not babbling just because I want to. Don't get me wrong, I do enjoy it. But a lot of it is I've realized if I go at the speed I want to go at, you guys keep going, slow down, Mr. Man, I can't write it all down that fast. So I tend to work in babbling. Those of you who are faster and slightly smarter than the other kids, then I get to do a bit more educating for you to try and help you out. Let's go with Kyla. We're going to break our internal conflict down into two parts. Part one, Kyla, let's go with what does internal mean? Have your nicely done. I don't know the gang signs for it, but yes, it's going to be inner. So internal is like most of you should have what we call internal organs. If you do not have internal organs, that's probably an issue between you and your doctor, but you should have a thing that's inside of you that is squishy that keeps you from dying. You also have an external organ. You do not, you do. It's called your skin, which is an organ. And if you don't have that as an external organ, again, there's probably a doctor you should have a conversation with because there are a lot of issues that you might be having. But internal means that it is inside of you. Then Lau, thanks for volunteering for my next part, Lau, because I know you should know what this is because you have what are called siblings. Lau, what is a conflict? Because that is something that everybody with siblings should know what it is.
It is basically a fight or an argument or a problem.
I had faith in you knowing that one. So an internal conflict is going to be a fight or an issue or a problem inside of the character. Like they ate spicy food? No, that's a different kind of internal conflict. An internal conflict happens in their head. Like they're crazy? Kind of, but it's going to be a little bit different. An internal conflict is going to be a decision the character has to make in the story. You will never use the word not, because we're going to tell you in a moment, that's weak sauce, and it's going to cause me to attack you. It is always written as something or something whenever you do it. So internal conflict, by the way, again, hopefully you've picked up on the fact that the things that are really important, I put in giant red letters and underline. The other things are just to help you out and make you slightly smarter. Internal conflict is going to be the decision. You should never use the word not. As an example, in the story, it could be to smack the younger brother or to let him go free. It could be to, no, not us, raise your hand for the 12th time in class or not anger the teacher. And so these are internal conflicts that happen in the story. A decision the character has to make. The reason it should always be written as something or something. That's why I have to, hang on, help you out. Maybe I could you could bring more attention to. I will. Always put or in there or I get to attack you. It is always something or something. If you use the word not in your example, one of two things is going to happen. One, I'm going to attack you and call you a globetrotter because not is a wussy word. And globetrotters are wussy people. If I find out that you use not in your answer, and I'll give you examples in a moment, then I'm going to attack you. The other thing that's going to happen is if you're close enough to me, I'm going to throat punch you because it means you're a globetrotter spy hiding in my room and you have just outed yourself. So as soon as you go, run away from the monster or not run away, I'm right there in the throat and you drop down. I go, Globy spy! And you hit the ground like, hat, hat, hat. And that way we know we have found out who you are. So as an example of bad things, run away from monster or not run away from monster. The reason I make fun of you is you just gave the same answer twice. You just put a not in there to separate the two of them. It just sounds like you're being wussy. Do my homework or not do my homework? No, you just did the same thing twice. You just put a not in front of it. It sounds like you're being a wussy. How about do my homework or don't do my homework? Don't is a contraction of two words. What are those two words? Do and right in the throat. So you cannot use don't and don't use can't, don't use won't. Those are all contractions for do, can, will, and into the throat. So hopefully that helps you out. You're gonna get a chance. Now here's the fun thing. In a moment, we're gonna practice coming up with these on a story, and one of you is probably gonna mess this up. You're gonna be all wussy like. You're gonna go run from him or not. I'm gonna come right at you. This will be all kinds of fun. So sometimes it's best to answer your questions like this, but that's also a way of ratting yourself out as a globetrotter. It's easier just to not show your globetrottery ways. And then external conflict, Zeke, if internal means inside, external means
Outside.
good teamwork, Zeke. It means outside. So an external conflict is a conflict that is, it's right there in the definition, literally. It's outside of you. External conflict is going to be a fight that is outside of you. You versus something else. Battle between two things. Something versus something. Giant arrow pointing to it. As in Schnipple versus good choices. That is a battle that you're going to have in the story. Evie versus paying attention is going to be a battle that you're going to have in the story. I'm seeing it. See, your screen is off. I can't even tell if my attack worked. All I know, you're completely ignoring me again, Steiner. Oh, now you're back, Steiner. All I have to do is make fun of you, and then you reappear. And so, you just like along. So I go. So that's what I'm looking for. The monkey versus the dragon. Two things that fight each other in the story. This is getting ready to disappear. We're going to practice reading a story and see how well you can apply them. Greta? Uh-huh. I would probably let you hold that one. If that brings you happiness, yes, that would probably be okay. I might still practice bending my fingers a little bit of excitement, but then we'll pull them back. Rye? That is excellent. That is the narwhal versus the monkey. Just seeing who's paying attention. I know. Well, they're all. I mean, they're having their decisions right there. Spitkins. Ooh, let's find out. Like using the French version of it? Not. So I just catch you again. It just didn't work out. It was a trick. See how my globetrotters work. JC?
With a K.
So, here's the story we're getting ready to take a look at. It's one that I'm hoping you're familiar with, called The Tortoise and the Hare. It's just one that I kind of rewrote. I did it from my memory, and my memory might be different than yours. But as we get through it, you're going to figure out characters, setting, plot. Where are we supposed to write this down? You're not. This is just practice, not with a K. This is just practice to try to help you out as we go through. So I just want you to be able to figure out how it works. The next one will be one you actually write down for practice. All right, let me read it. I printed off the same paper, so this way I get to face this direction, make it slightly less awkward. Oh, those of you at home, you can either listen to my melodic voice, or if you can pay attention to the thing behind me, or if you're Evie, you can sit there and stare at the wall. That's fine with me. Yeah, Evie, I get to make fun of you the rest of the day because you gave me permission with the choices you made. What a fun game. On the bright side, at least, I mean, oh, let's say, there's Eli's going to make fun of the other kids with their cameras off. If you're like Chase, I can make fun of Chase all I want, because if your camera's off, I'm assuming you're not paying attention. No, I didn't say turn your microphone on, Chase. I made fun of you, Chase, because your camera's off. There's a difference. You can, there you go. The tortoise and the hare. There once was a sassy rabbit who thought he was all that in a bag of chips. He would brag to all of the other animals in the forest about how much faster than them he was. I have, no, sorry, rabbit voice. I have never yet been beaten, he said. Whenever I want to win, I will most definitely destroy anybody who steps up. I challenge anyone in this forest to race with me. A friendly turtle, who had been listening to the annoying bunny for weeks on end, said quietly, I accept your challenge. That's a good joke, said the confident hare. I can dance around you all the way. You're not even worth the effort of a laugh. Just keep talking, answered the tortoise, halfway through a laugh. Just keep talking, answered the tortoise, until you've actually beaten me. Your words mean nothing. Shall we race? So an impromptu racetrack was created, and a start line was dragged in the dirt. As soon as the owl yelled, "Boo!" the hare took off in a sprint and was almost out of sight at once. But about halfway down the track, he stopped and came up with a plan. He wanted to show that dumb turtle just how stupid he was for sassing him in front of his friends. To insult the scrubby little tortoise, he just laid down in the middle of the road and took a nap. The tortoise, meanwhile, plodded on and on. He ignored the rabbit and just did what he did best, walk without stopping. Eventually, when the hare awoke from his haunting nap, he looked up to see the tortoise almost across the finish line. And no matter how much he sprinted, hiccuped, and swore, he could not catch up in time to save the race. Carson?
I'm gonna be totally honest. Except in that, I thought it was like when people start to cry, they kind of take a breath.
I was getting emotionally worked up into it. Just because the rap. No. All right. So now, as we get into it, we're going to figure out how well all that stuff stuck in your head as we get into this next part. I'm also excited to find out. All right. So characters. Sasha, thanks for volunteering to go first. So Sasha, we should have 3 characters in there. Give me one of the 3 characters. Would be close. We're going to go with one of the animals that. Yeah, I know. It's like they're right in front of you. It's kind of weird. The tortoise, who probably has 2 eyes, but if you want to mock him for his ocular vision, that's up to you. But sure. And then Colleen, another one of our characters. Are you asking me? I'm old. Confidence. I like your confidence. Just like you nailed it. And there is a 3rd character, Nate, and the 3rd character is. Did you flex on me? I accept your flexing. So we should have the hare, tortoise, and owl. Here's the other thing I'm going to make you guys do. Anytime we have a character, you're going to have to give a description of that character that cannot fit any other character. So in a moment, when I have Sophia give me a description of the first one up there, you cannot say an animal, because that would work for all of them. You can't say an animal with legs. Sophia, why have you not unmuted yourself? I already said your name. What is wrong with you, son? Hit the button. The button. The button. Thank you, Sophia. That's so nice of you. So, in a moment, you have to come up with an explanation that would not work for any other one. Sophia, it's okay to cry. It lets the sad out. I understand completely. Sophia, for the hare, how would you describe the hare? Now, on this one, I know you can go with either the personality of the hare, or you can. Okay, I'm already calling. You don't have to raise your hand. I'm already calling on you, Sophia.
Oh,
You can just
bragging. He is a bragger.
Would work. Nicely done, Sophia. Good teamwork on that one. We got through it. Only one of us had to cry. I went for sassy and fast, but you're along the same lines. Eli, we're going to jump to you for the next one on the tortoise. Yeah. Nicely done, Eli. You were so much fast. Ooh, hang on. We're going to teach you irony here for a second. Eli, it's almost like you rushed to hit the button. Unlike, yeah, I'm mocking you on that one because it's hilarious. Not you, Eli. I'm mocking Sophia because it's part of her name. Eli, how would you describe the tortoise?
The tortoise, I would say he's slow and smart.
That works for me. I went for calm and slow, but slow and bark work for the same long as one of those ones. And then, sure, Snip, how would you describe the owl?
I would describe the owl as fluffy, has a lot of traumatic past, and eats a lot of brownies.
But how would that connect to the story? Now, I'm not saying that's wrong. I'm just saying that on a quiz, I would laugh at you and give you no points because it does not actually connect to the story. That's the owl in your house. I want to know about the owl that's here. He had one job in the story. Pay attention. So this is where it comes back to haunt you, but I appreciate your eagerness on that one. Olivia won. Well, one, confidence. No, I'm telling you to repeat it with confidence. Not bad. I would agree because he does yell out loud on that one. Olivia, two. I'm not sure the demanding part comes in there. I'll count that. I was going to go for the fact that he starts the race, but sure. Apparently for you guys, that's loud and demanding, but baby steps. Squidkins. I would agree. Nicely done. The more times we get to attack Sophia, the better. Good teamwork on Sophia. We would never attack you. You're completely innocent. All right. And then coming down to setting. Chase, thanks for volunteering, Chase. The next one we have Chase coming up on set. Chase, you unmuted yourself so quickly. I didn't get a chance to yell at you. I was all excited for a moment. Chase, what are the two parts of setting we have to know? Straight off the definition.
Where it is and when it is.
Nicely done, Chase. So we have the where and we have the when. Talbot. Now on this one, it gets a little tough to remember when it took place, but I'll be pretty open with what I accept from it. Do you have a guess as what you could say for the when? Not bad. And I probably accept that. Without going back and looking at the story, it's kind of hard to remember. I went for a long time ago. Don't worry, Talbot, I'm not done with you. Talbot, you get another shot at this one to make you feel really strong and powerful. Where was the story taking place? If you're not Talbot, it's okay. Yes, but what did he say, Talbot? That's the question. It was taking place where? Nicely done. And there's also, I would accept one other answer as it goes along, Kyla.
The racetrack.
I don't know. Oh, because I thought you were describing a racetrack to me, but you're letting me know that there was not a ventriloquist. I'm picking up like I'm old. And so again, I would accept either forest or racetrack on that one. Go you. And yes, Eli, I agree with your example of irony on there. It made me smile. All right. Plot. Here's how we're going to go through and do plot. As we go through, you're going to tell me the first thing that happens, and then we're going to jump all the way down to the last thing. We're always going to do 5 things on plot because it seems to be the easiest way. It's always going to be 5. If you look at the back side of this paper, on here, we're going to eventually have to do them on other stories. It's always 5. Every time we do plot, it's always going to be 5 things. No matter how long the story is, beginning, middle, end, and then 2 other parts. So as an example, Rye, for the plot, what is the very first thing that happens at the beginning of the story?
Says, and I quote, he's all that in the fastest chair. So hope they're Doritos.
I put Rabbit brags about being the fastest. Nicely done. And then we're going to jump all the way, Jaden, to the end of the story. And what's the very last thing that happens in the story? Good. Now you're going to channel your inner Colleen and Olivia 1, and with confidence, we'll try it again. And your answer is, even if you're wrong, all I do is yell at you in front of other people. You're tickled about the idea of a rabbit cussing, aren't you? Like that just seems the part that's really getting to you. You're having trouble getting past that part. It's okay. Rabbits cuss all the time. It's just a forest thing. You just have to accept it and be able to move on from there. But I would agree. The rabbit, what happens to the rabbit at the very end of the race? Aside from him cussing. There you go. I went for rabbit loses the race. I did not work cussing into mine because I was not as impressed by rabbit cussing. but you guys don't have to have my exact answer. As long as yours works, that's fine with me. Now, I'll give you the middle one. Rabbit and turtle race to the woods. Because now JC is going to come up with what happens in step 2. What happens between rabbit brags about being the fastest and rabbit and turtle race to the woods? You don't have to raise your hand. I already called on you. You're JC. That'll work for me. Turtle accepts the challenge to a race along the same lines. Nate, between 3 and 5. Rabbit and turtle race through woods. Rabbit loses the race. What would number 4 be?
Middle of the road.
Disco. So on that one, this is what I want you guys to be able to do every time we do a story. I'm going to make you find the 5 parts of the plot. Find the beginning, find the end, find the middle, and then go from there. That's what we're going to practice doing every time we do a story. Beginning, end, middle, fill in the other 2. Squidkins? A lot of times what I will do is, as long as your answer makes sense and works, that's fine with me. On most ones we do going through here, if you can explain it and connect it to the story and show me that you read it and understood it, I'll probably accept it. What I would do on a quiz is I would give you like 1 and 3 and then give you options and say which ones of these would go between there. Okay. That's more I want you to be able to sort of figure out that sort of how it makes sense. All right. It's the same story. Freak out, child. You already saw it. It's not like part 2. You know, like, what happens now? Is it the revenge of the turtle? No, it's the same one. But this makes it so much easier when I call on Kyla to be able to go through there and figure out the point of view. So on this one, to figure out point of view, instead of trying to remember it, we get to look up there. So first off, Kyla, is it first person or third person? Nice one. Does it follow one character or follow many characters? So what does that make it? Nicely done. So point of view, third person, omniscient, following a whole bunch of characters. For the theme, this is where you guys get to have a bit more of your opinion in things. The theme is going to be, what is it you think you're supposed to learn? So when I call on Maddie in just a moment, she gets to sort of come up with whatever it is. Nicely done, Maddie. I didn't have to yell at you or anything. You were so fast. Way to rush to get to the button on that. Don't you throw hands at me, Sophia. All right, so on that one, Maddie, what is it you think the theme would be? What is it we are supposed to learn from the story?
I would say you're probably supposed to learn not to brag and then not even give your best.
That would work for me. Not to brag, but there's other ones you can come up with. Like that was, I would absolutely take it as long as you can connect it to the story. JC? Would work for me also. Be humble. The idea of not bragging. Olivia, one? I mean, technically, yes, that's the one that goes along with it for thousands of years. But I find that old and boomery. I mean, not to attack you, but the fact that you guys come up with newer ones, I'm fine with that. If yours works, it does not always have to match the one I come up with. Snap.
No, it doesn't. That's not true. It's not always going to be your opponent sleeps and then you just get it. That's not what happens in life. That's false.
We're going to dial it down a little. Yes, dear, I agree with you. And nor do I think it's a very good one for this, but it's been around for thousands of years. I want for the ones people know, but yes, I agree with your anger. Just dial it down when aimed at me. Carson. Huh? Well, that's more about in the land of Jade, but yes, apparently she really focused on that one particular thing. Whenever you see rabbits out there and you're like, what's that rabbit? Oh, he's probably cussing again. You know how rabbits are. Squidkins? Ooh, how so? Is this ASL? But yes, I would agree with Carter. That's solid. Rye?
Pay attention.
Oh, I can dig that. Connected to the story. I mean, technically the rabbit should have paid attention. Just like I'm going to pay attention to going on to the next one from the, let's see, on this one, internal, ooh, as the turtle, ooh, I picked on that kid, I picked on that kid, and then I picked on that kid, and then I picked on that kid. Sophia, we're going to give you another chance on this one. And is it, Sophia, are you going to get to the, good job, Sophia. We're going to get to the internal conflict, which is going to be the decision that the character has to make. The turtle makes a number of decisions in the story. What decision would you say the turtle has to make that you would think like be an important one in there?
Accept the rabbit's challenge of the race, or just let the rabbit keep on bragging.
Good job. I had my throat jabbing fingers already. They're going to be coming right through the camera at you, but you did not reveal your globetrotterishness. I feel the same. Race rabbit or just move on. What's that, Valerie? You say the turtle also, so the rabbit has one too. I agree, Valerie. Way to stand on that one. Valerie, what decision does the rabbit have to make? Have faith in yourself, right? So the rabbit, at some point in the story, makes a couple decisions. What would be a big one that you think he has to do? Give me big eyes on that one. Have faith in yourself. Now, here's a part of what's going to happen in our stories. There's not necessarily an easy decision that pops up in there. So sometimes you're going to use this thing called imagination. And you're going to have to imaginate what you think the decision would be. Because there's not an obvious one that you have to raise your hand. I've already called on you, Valerie. And so you're going to use your imagination to figure out what you think the decision would be. Valerie, what's up? I would count it. Nicely done. I went for taunt with a nap or just finish out the race. I think it's the same idea. Once you think about it, and I force you to say, hey, be creative, you're like, well, halfway through the race, he did lay down and take a nap, so that was a decision he made, so I would agree. Nicely done. That's what I'm going to try and get you guys to do for like the quizzes and stuff like that, is can you figure out which of the like internal conflicts you get to be able to figure out? Is the decision going to be about whether the rabbit should cuss or be a good, yeah, I saw that was coming. You guys got all excited. I know how those rabbits are. I'm going to run around saying the rabbit words. So yeah, from now on, whenever you guys start making poor choices, like, hey, cut out those rabbit words. We all know how those bunnies are. No snip, and then external conflict. Partly it entertains me to watch you deflate so much each time I do that. You're like, oh, it's like watching a roller coaster. Yeah, oh, it's gonna get, oh. It brings me happy because I have Zeke, what? You want to do external conflict? Thank you, Zeke. When we get to external conflict, wait, before you get to answer, let's pick on my other cross-country runner. Squitkins, how is an external conflict supposed to be written every time? Hi, you're Squitkins. Nicely done. So in our story, Zeke, what are the two things that are fighting each other?
The hare and the tortoise.
How are we supposed to properly write one?
Tortoise versus hare.
Nicely done. I was careful. I stretched out my fingers there for just a second. So turtle versus rabbit, or the tortoise versus the hare, something like that. Now, you can also be creative on these. And you can do something like rabbit versus his own stupidity. Even though they don't necessarily fight, that is definitely a battle that happens in there. Isn't that an internal conflict? An internal conflict is a choice. Now, I would say those are definitely connected to each other. But for some of you guys, like as an example, let's randomly pick on a kid. Let's say Greta. And Greta could have the internal conflict of, should I raise my hand or not try and anger the teacher? That's an internal conflict. The external conflict could be Greta versus her need to talk as much as I do. So there you have the battle that is going on inside of her versus the actual conflict that's happening. So that
Mr. Broviak,
but not exactly the same. Yes.
are you a globetrotter or spy because you used the word not?
Which part? Correct. They were. Oh, who was the kid over there that did the same one that tried to do the sneaky thing and I just used the same thing? Was that you, Greta? Oh, it's like I did it on purpose. I graded my answer because I didn't say one and then the other. I used not the correct way. Sophia, are you trying to high-five me for attacking Greta? What's up, Sophia?
I think you're being too hard on the rabbit. he is just misunderstood. He's just not very confident in himself. So he is just trying to make friends by bragging.
Yes, everyone knows that's how you make friends, by insulting other people and belittling them. Sophia, you and I may need to have a conversation on Monday when you show up about this whole bullying thing that apparently talked about during fifth period. But it's okay, we'll get there. And to answer your question, yes, you can use not when you use it correctly. As in, I did not repeat the same answer twice. But if you do it one way, like I said, and you can use in there, at some point, you guys may be skilled enough to do that. It's just most of you are not there yet. Many of you are still giving me this confused blinky stares. And some of you guys have already gone to your happy place because you've been in here for what feels like 12 hours and you've already tuned me out. And the other third of you are still thinking about the fact that rabbits cuss and you're not focusing on anything I say whatsoever. So because of that, that's why I don't have faith in you getting to that point quite yet. But maybe someday, attack. Thank you, Eli. I was trying my best. Right.
Rabbit versus his own narcolepsy.
When you fall asleep, something's out of control. I don't think it was narcolepsy. I think it was more on purpose, but good use of the word narcolepsy. That was a big word. There was like more than 5 letters. Olivia, too. His lack of speed. Wow, why are we attacking the turtle? Are we all like all of a sudden hashtag Team Sophia? We're all like, let's bully other people to make them feel better? You don't have to raise your hand, Sophia. I know you're on Team Sophia. That's why it's called hashtag Team Sophia. Yes, Sophia, what's up?
I think the turtle is the mean one because the turtle, like, if he really wants to be a fair race, he should have woken up the rabbit. The rabbit just might have some disorder that makes him fall asleep all the time.
Yes, that disorder is called being a jerk. It's the worst disorder of all. Kyla?
Because did you see what he said in that third line? He was all like, I'm gonna win because I can do this. But he was like, you're not all that and baggy chips. I'm gonna lose because I got it.
So we didn't get quite as far as I wanted to, which I'm sure shocks every single one of you that is in this room at the current moment. You're like, but so much learning happened. I feel the same way. There's good news and bad news that goes along with this. Remember we talked about next Wednesday, there's going to be a quiz, the one that Greta told us she was going to cry during? Well, next week on Monday, I have 2 stories to get through. We're a little behind with you guys. So if we don't get through both stories, it becomes homework for you. So just so you are aware, we have 2 stories to try and get through to try and give you practice for the quiz. If you guys try and talk as much as I talk, we may have an issue. But here's the good news. Next Monday, y'all ain't gonna be here. These kids are gonna be here, and these kids are moderately more behaved, except when Sophia's bullying rabbits. But bullying turtles. So there's a chance we'll be able to get through it. The good news for you people is I will be able to see you and interact, and then hopefully we'll be able to have chat, which should be the first time we've had a chance to do it with you guys, which will hopefully work better. You guys know what class you're going? Hey, what are you doing, you horrible child, trying to make me cry? I'm literally right here. What do you do when someone's heart is not full of love? No, you don't stare at me. Her heart is not. What part of you is supposed to sit and smile at me so I'm charging you points? All right, fine. There are points. That was Olivia and a JC. Oh, now. I know, it was the other Olivia, not you, Olivia. Now. And Schnipple. Thank you much. Now you guys can run away and take off.
Yes, I was. Do I point off?
No, you came back and sat down. Bye. You can run away now. I'm done with all of you. Please go do a thing.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.